Watch the Spectrum Bay News 9 weather experts with your Weather on the 9's forecast on your TV and on the go with the Spectrum News app, exclusively on Spectrum.
Ready for a new adventure? Discover what's possible with Spectrum Mobile. As a Spectrum Internet customer, you get one line of unlimited Spectrum Mobile included for 1 year. Stay connected across every step of your journey with nationwide 5G and reliable coast-to-coast service. Plus, explore even more places with free data roaming in over 180 countries. Spectrum Mobile is the nation's fastest growing mobile provider, connecting millions across the country wherever life takes them. From the mountains to the desert, to all those unexpected places in between. And with Spectrum Wi-Fi access points available nationwide, you can search, share, and stream while using less data every month. Ready to explore new possibilities? Don't just dream about it. Make it happen. As a Spectrum Internet customer, you get one line of unlimited mobile included for 1 year. Additional lines, just $30 each. Click, call, or visit a Spectrum store today.
Mom was always very self-sufficient, but we started noticing things were off.
I was forgetting my responsibilities at work.
I told Mom we should visit a doctor.
Alzheimer's. It was hard to hear that.
Early detection gave us time to seek information and support as a family. I've never felt more connected with Mom.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Good Wednesday evening, I'm Rick Elmhorst, and this is your Spectrum News in 90. Governor Ron DeSantis signed 2 bills stiffening the penalties against animal abuse. One of them charges people who abandon their dogs during a natural disaster with a 3rd-degree felony. The change comes after state troopers rescued a bull terrier that was tied to a fence in floodwaters off I-75 during Hurricane Milton.
After like the 2nd or 3rd loop, I was able to find a dog clearly in water, in distress, and it was a horrific moment to be in, but I was just thankful that I was able to find him.
The other law signed today creates a new database to document and track animal abusers. The St. Pete City Council reconsidering the projected cost to repair Tropicana Field. The stadium has been exposed since Milton tore the roof off. The council will consider several items at their upcoming meeting, including contract price for metal panel repairs, and expanding the scope of the architectural and engineering contracts. Repairs were set to begin next month, and the stadium was scheduled to be ready to play in the start of the 2026 season. The Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority is getting closer to having 2 new ferries to travel back and forth across the bay. The PSTA voted to accept about $5 million in unused federal grant money. Hart still needs to approve the transfer of that money to the PSTA. And that is your Spectrum News in 90.
We always say it only takes one, but last year we had to deal with 3.
Helene is a very, very quick-moving hurricane at this point.
There's the eye where it has officially come ashore between Siesta Key and Sarasota.
Now this storm season, we're prepared for whatever Mother Nature might bring.
Right now I think it's close to 13 feet.
Both the house and this building are rated for like 150-mile-an-hour winds.
While still recovering from the mess they left behind.
We're still waiting for permits so we can get our house fixed so we can move back in.
The checklist hasn't changed, but we as a community have.
Stronger together, preparing for storm season 2025.
Preparing for storm season 2025, presented by Bartow Ford.
Thank you for joining us for our Spectrum Bay News 9 special, Preparing for Storm Season 2025. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Clay.
And I'm meteorologist Julie Marquez. This year, the forecast is for a near-normal hurricane season, and we're here to help you get ready while still in a state of recovery from last year.
So let's start there. After decades of avoiding a direct hit, our luck ran out. Debbie dumped tons of rain and caused significant flooding, and we thought that was going to be the worst for us, but that was not the only storm.
Right, of course it wasn't. We then experienced major storm surge from Hurricane Helene. It reached 6 to 8 feet in some areas, more than we've seen in decades, maybe more than some Floridians have seen their whole life here.
And then just 2 weeks later, Hurricane Milton brought heavy rain And damaging winds to our area, it wrecked communities that were already struggling to recover from Helene. And the wind ripped the roof right off Tropicana Field as we watched it live. It left a mess inside. And of course, the stadium still isn't repaired today.
Many of us had major flooding from last year. And now, 8 months later, we're gearing up for another hurricane season.
Our Julia Hazel spoke to a Manatee County resident who's installing pumps on his property to move the water out and prevent issues in the future.
Heavy lifting is part of Bradley Anderson's new plan.
All right, right now we're starting the process of being proactive.
In this case, he's creating a drainage path by moving dirt. This new approach comes after his family's parish property flooded multiple times during last year's hurricane season.
I don't want to become a statistic. I need to control the part that I can.
But no one can control the force of a storm. This is video Anderson sent us of flooding on his property. It's in flood zone X, considered to be low risk, yet flooded in Debbie, Helene, and Milton.
You would be sloshing through water, and it ran all the way up to the front of the home.
Our weather experts shared data from an Ellington rain gauge for those 3 storms. The total from both Debbie, 14.6 inches, and Milton, 6.2 inches, exceeded the monthly averages, while Helene also dropped nearly 2.5 inches of rain in central Manatee County. If the property floods again, Anderson says he will use a pump to drain the water.
As the water starts to rise, the pump kicks in.
From priming these pipes on the property to preparing this large hole for excess water, the whole process will take weeks to complete. And even then, the homeowners tell me they're worried it still won't be enough.
This provides a lot more peace of mind.
There's more than 500 feet of pipe that he will run to the front of their land.
We're just taking all necessary precautions because you never know when that one storm or the surrounding impact is going to come through.
Water will then dump out here into a culvert.
There's a lot of labor. It's a labor of love.
But it's also been a large financial investment for his family.
The pumps alone in the low thousands. The equipment rental itself, I mean, you're talking hundreds of dollars per day.
Each day, as Anderson continues to prepare, he is counting on this project to safeguard the property for future storm seasons. In Parrish, Julia Hazel, Spectrum News.
Now is a great time to create a hurricane kit. You don't want to wait until a storm is on its way and then shelves are empty. Here's a few things you should keep in your hurricane kit: flashlights, batteries, a first aid kit, prescription medications, non-perishable food, and bottled water. 1 gallon per day per person.
Right now, so many of our neighbors are still trying to rebuild or repair their homes from last year. For those who have substantial damage, it's even tougher, with FEMA offering only 3 choices: demolish and rebuild, relocate altogether, or elevate. Spectrum Bay News 9's Erica Riggins gives us a closer look at how to raise up your home to protect it.
Taking a look around, you can see it and feel it. The strength coming back to the city of Gulfport. This small waterfront community, beaten but not broken by Hurricane Helene. A common bond through shared trauma that will never divide them.
It still happens to where you meet people or you see people and they say, you know, did you make it? Did you have any damage? Or how's the progress?
I need the chicken tenders. Barbara Bano is working hard to revitalize her city, and she sees more people coming back to Stella's, her restaurant. She's been living here and running several small businesses for nearly 20 years. Leaving was never an option.
When you see a light at the end of the tunnel and you feel good about your decision, it's going to be worth it in the end.
Still navigating through the darkness and living in limbo in her hurricane-damaged home, with walls gone and much of it covered in plastic.
We're making it work.
The home is now considered substantially damaged, which means rebuilding, relocating, or elevating to comply with FEMA's guidelines. That's the reality for thousands of residents in Pinellas County. County officials say the goal is for homeowners not to make a big reinvestment and then get hit again.
The whole idea of elevating is to break that cycle.
Which is exactly what Barbara has in mind. Seeing her neighbor's elevated home under construction gives her hope.
They've just done so much, and just seeing it up that high automatically gives me so much peace of mind.
Back at Barbara's house, Spectrum Bay News 9 meteorologist Brian McClure explains.
7-foot storm surge came to here. The problem is, let's say we had a stronger storm that actually came right at us. Well, now you're talking about a storm surge that could easily go almost to the top of this building, top of this house. So what you have to do is you have to build for worst case scenario. If you're going to prop it up, you might as well prop up worst case scenario.
Here's a look at the renderings of what Barbara's home will look like once JAS Builders completes the work in just a few months. To describe it in the simplest of terms, think of the classic kids game where you stack wood into a tall pillar. Well, the elevated home sits on several pillars of wood or columns until the concrete is poured. A $260,000 investment.
The county offers great incentives and perks. There's also, a FEMA grant out there that if you are over 50%, you qualify for $30,000 FEMA grant.
Every little bit helps. Barbara calls it a reinvestment in the community she loves. Erica Riggins, Spectrum News.
Right now, we're standing in the hub of our weather center where we use specialized programs to track and make our forecasts. Every year, we warn you about storm surge, and Hurricane Helene showed us why. This video is from inside the All Seasons Resort on Madeira Beach. During Hurricane Helene, the water in parts of Tampa Bay reached 6 to 8 feet.
Our Kyle Hansen joins us now to explain what we mean when we say run from the water, hide from the wind.
Storm surge is the deadliest part of the hurricane, and the worst of it occurs right on that right-hand side of the storm. That's because that's where you have that wind pushing that water right up against the coastline, that wind direction, again, perpendicular to the coast. And this is what can bring those water levels up. So let's take a home that's built at sea level on the ground here. Let's say we have a tropical storm in place. The worst of that surge on the right-hand side could be right around 3 feet, and that could flood this home's first floor. Now let's say we get a Category 1 storm. That could bring storm surge up to 8 feet or so, which could almost completely inundate that first floor. Now what about a major hurricane, a direct hit from a major hurricane just to the right of that eye? That could bring easily 15 feet of surge, which can almost entirely inundate that second floor. This is why we stay. Evacuate if told to do so, because this could happen to you if you do stay.
Storm surge is usually the deadliest part of a hurricane. It's why evacuation orders are given. Coming up, we explain the importance of leaving before it's too late. Stay with us, preparing for storm season 2025. We'll be right back.
Sundays, take an in-depth look at your community. In Focus with Allison Walker, where decision makers come together and examine issues that impact Floridians.
The travel and tourism industry is so very important to the state of Florida.
It's a solutions-based conversation.
They must be protected and have the tools they need.
Your community, your state, your show. In Focus with Allison Walker, Sundays at 11:30 on Spectrum Bay News 9, exclusively on Spectrum.
Enjoy, unwind, connect with Spectrum TV On Demand. From the latest hit movies you've been waiting to watch to your favorite comfort shows and more, all available instantly for you to stream. Create the all-around entertainment experience you've always wanted with Spectrum TV On Demand. Browse over 80,000 on-demand titles today.
Being a cowboy, well, I don't know anything different. I had a very successful career. Life was fast. I was preparing physically. I wasn't doing anything mentally. And then I got hurt. I dug into mental health. I wanted to be better as a person. I start my day with a workout. I live life 8 seconds at a time. Find a place to stop and just breathe. Love your mind.
From D.C. to Tallahassee, elected officials are making decisions that affect our daily lives right here at home. These decisions happen every day, which is why Political Connections breaks down the biggest stories every weeknight, providing you real context and balanced analysis of the day's political news, giving you a better understanding of how the issues impact you and your local community. Join us for Political Connections weeknights at 7 and 11:30 on Spectrum Bay News 9, exclusively on Spectrum.
Preparing for Storm Season 2025, presented by Bartow Ford.
Welcome back to Preparing for Storm Season 2025. Ahead of a storm, you may be asked to evacuate. The threat of storm surge is why coastal communities are asked to leave.
Hurricane Helene caused storm surge that trapped people in their homes. In Crystal River, emergency officials performed several water rescues the morning after the storm passed. That's why it's important to listen to officials when evacuation orders are given.
Our Calvin Lewis met with 2 Pasco County residents and explains why they'll always heed the warnings.
On the water's edge in Hudson.
And this is where I live full time. This is my home.
Proudly stands the home of Kate Mullen.
I have electric, that's it really, and water.
It's been 8 months since Hurricane Helene, the storm that flooded Mullen's home and forced her to evacuate.
Yeah, we put up some drywall.
Its impression still noticeable on the home's walls.
It's hard when you come back and you've got 4.5 feet of floodwater has just taken away everything you've worked the last year for. This is my bedroom.
Being in a mandatory evacuation zone, Mullen says she headed inland to Spring Hill. She says the consequences could have been dire.
Probably if I'd have stayed, which I wouldn't even have thought about to do because you know how bad floods can be, I wouldn't have made it.
30 minutes south of Mullen in Holiday.
I fly an American flag. I have ever since I bought the house. It got destroyed in a storm.
Stacy Van Skank has a different story, one that did not involve evacuating.
I've lived through all of them and never experienced anything like what I just experienced.
Van Skank's sentiment is one many Floridians share, thinking a storm won't impact them until it does.
Complacency is something that the folks around Tampa Bay have dealt with many hurricane seasons over.
Spectrum Bay News 9 meteorologist Josh Linker says Hurricane Helene changed people's perspective. So when Hurricane Milton approached weeks later, people started thinking of evacuating early.
The challenge with that, deciding not to evacuate early, is that maybe your neighborhood's not going to be underwater, but your evacuation path might be.
So this right here, I think it's about 3 feet.
Van Skank says by the time she thought about evacuating, it was too late. A lesson she's learned for the future.
Staying at home during a storm, what are you going to do? You're not going to protect your home. If the water's coming in, it's coming in. It's done.
Both women continue picking up the pieces, with a few surprises to be found along the way.
Yeah, that makes my heart happy. Like I said, like things like this, that excites me to see that's where my flag is. And I can't believe in 6 months I haven't noticed that.
A small glimmer of hope during a difficult time, surviving a storm season that left a lasting impact on both women's lives. In Pasco County, Calvin Lewis, Spectrum News.
It's important to know if your home is in a flood zone or an evacuation zone. A flood zone indicates a property's risk for flooding from rain, but evacuation zones are mapped by local emergency managers to identify areas that could be affected by storm surge. To learn if you are in an evacuation zone, go to our website, baynews9.com, click on weather, and then storm season. From there, you'll see a link, evacuation zones. From here, you can type in your address and find your evacuation zone.
Emergency shelters will be open when an evacuation is ordered. Each county will have a list of open shelters on their website. Don't assume that the shelter you used in the past will be open this time. Well, now that our area has experienced significant impacts from 2 hurricanes, a lot of residents are preparing differently for the upcoming season. And local leaders are too. Our Jeff Butera spoke to Manatee County emergency officials about what they learned from last year and how they upgraded the workflow to respond more efficiently.
Helene and Milton were monster storms. The kind of hurricanes that uproot massive trees, bury cars, and drown your belongings. The severest of weather that some people in Manatee County were not sure they'd live through.
This is the first time that, I've ever been scared of a storm.
I was just, all my animals were gonna die. Jeff and I were gonna die.
Jody Fisk's job is to keep them alive. I'm thinking of the phrase, information is power.
Yes.
She's the director of public safety in Manatee County.
Information is everything. We make our decisions based on the most current information that we have at the time.
This room that she's in, these monitors on the wall, are the way Manatee County is using the most current storm information. It shows evacuation levels, wind speed, radar, road closures, shelter information, data on lift stations, and river levels.
Now, it's all data that they had before, but it was spread out in different systems. For example, wind speed data up here, road closures here, radar down here. You'd have to maneuver through all the programs just to strategize your response. Well, a company called Peregrine came in and said, what if we put all of that in one place, one single dashboard, almost like taking everything, all the current information, and putting it in a notebook right in front of you.
At no point are we making a decision on evacuations or opening shelters without looking at the most up-to-date data that we have.
Spectrum Bay News 9 meteorologist Diane Kaczmarek told me that's a big deal as you track these hurricanes.
In the Spectrum Bay News 9 Weather Center, we have all of our data in one place as well. It makes it a little bit easier when we're trying to forecast those subtle movements of a hurricane when it is very close to our coast.
We can't make the storms any weaker. We can't make their fury any less fierce. You said this is in real time?
Real time.
But we can control how we respond. And the idea of these 6 monitors in Manatee County is to do it faster and more efficiently. Jeff Butera, Spectrum News.
Fisk says that the most important data they get might be damage assessments. It gives them a much better sense of how much damage they're dealing with, so when they ask state or federal government officials for help, they don't have to guess.
Florida lawmakers passed a bill during the legislative session that focuses on storm relief. It will streamline permitting efforts and prevent local governments from charging more in permit or inspection fees for 6 months after a storm. It also enhances preparedness efforts and training for local officials. The bill also includes language regarding crane safety during storms, a response to the crane collapse in downtown St. Pete during Hurricane Milton.
This year, NOAA and the National Weather Service took a big hit from budget cuts. Up next, we discuss if this is having an impact on hurricane preparations in Florida. You're watching Preparing for Storm Season 2025. We'll be right back.
Our daily decisions can have a massive impact on the quality of our lives. From the foods we eat to the places we live and everything in between, our health can send us on a quest for answers. Join me as we break down the science and politics behind some of the most important topics affecting our communities and learn what we can do about them.
Watch Exploring Your Health on the Spectrum News app. Available on all of your favorite devices.
Look at this.
Sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows. Everything that's wonderful is what I feel when we're together.
Oh, that was funny.
It's all about connecting with seamless connectivity. And internet customers get 1 mobile line included for 1 year with Spectrum.
What are you doing in there? What's that?
I wouldn't do that. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
We are connected, engaged, from the moment we rise. We move. We adjust. We learn, explore, relax, and grow together so we're ready to build a better tomorrow. Stay informed throughout your day with the Spectrum News app, exclusively for Spectrum customers.
Preparing for Storm Season 2025, presented by Bartow Ford.
Welcome back to Preparing for Storm Season 2025. Every Floridian knows the value of good weather forecasting. This hurricane season, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is facing staffing shortages.
Earlier this year, more than 1,000 NOAA employees were laid off and others were offered a voluntary retirement, including many here in Florida. Our Aaron Murray spoke to a meteorologist from the National Weather Service office in Ruskin who took that voluntary retirement option about the impacts of job cuts and what they could have on weather forecasting.
I got the job here in August of 2007, and so yeah, it's almost 18 years now, but yeah, this was the office.
Your name was right here.
I know, it was, and now everything used to be on the wall.
Like hundreds of others, Brian Lamar took voluntary retirement from the National Weather Service. And even though it's only been a few weeks that he's been gone, without a doubt, the National Weather Service Tampa office was a home away from home.
Congratulations and best wishes from your friends and family at NWS Tampa Bay. Your leadership and dedicated personality will be greatly missed.
He ran this office for many years. Then, 8 months ago, was promoted to modernize the National Weather Service as a whole. But then layoffs happened and voluntary early retirements were offered earlier this year. Lamar said it was the right time for him.
After long thinking and kind of reflection, I accepted it.
But losing him isn't nothing. He's been sharing life-saving information for over 31 years now. Where does that leave things here at the National Weather Service when we've lost such experience like yourself?
That does leave a gap in experience, a gap in knowledge. However, here at the National Weather Service Tampa office, we have an amazing team of professionals. The short staffing has not directly impacted this office in a severe way like it has some other offices across the country.
Going into this hurricane season, do you think that we are prepared?
I do think we're prepared.
And remember, the Tampa Bay area isn't losing Lamar. He just started his own company called Inspire Weather.
Helping people understand weather, to going out and giving preparedness and educational talks with community engagement, and also looking at some of the media interactions. But another piece too is about coaching and mentoring.
Leaving this place in experienced, capable hands to help the next generation of meteorologists.
Standing here for the last time and walking out the door, and yeah, it's a strange feeling.
In Ruskin, I'm Aaron Murray, Spectrum News.
Brian spent more than 30 years in this career, including many here in Tampa Bay, helping us get through so many of these storms. Aaron's interview with Lamar was close to 20 minutes. She went in depth with him about the state of the National Weather Service and his future business plans. We've posted the full interview on our website, baynews9.com.
Another federal agency that could see changes coming is FEMA. FEMA is the government organization responsible for dealing with national emergencies. In Washington, there's a piece of legislation to reform the agency. The FEMA Independence Act would turn FEMA into an independent agency, removing it from the Department of Homeland Security. The bill would also grant the agency a cabinet ranking, with the director reporting to the president. President Trump announced a FEMA Review Council, which includes Tampa Mayor Jane Castor and Florida Division of Emergency Management Director Kevin Guthrie.
Spectrum Bay News 9 will be with you before, during, and after a storm.
And if you haven't already, download the Spectrum News app for more storm season resources and make sure you turn those weather alert notifications on.
Thank you for watching Storm Season 2025. I'm Julie Marquez.
And I'm Mike Clay. Take care.
Preparing for Storm Season 2025, presented by Bartow Ford.
The weather in Tampa Bay can be as dynamic as the people who call it home. It's why at Spectrum Bay News 9, we're committed to providing you with an accurate forecast so you can plan for the day ahead. So if it's just another beautiful day or if there's storms rolling in, you can count on us to be there for you.
Watch the Spectrum Bay News 9 weather experts with your Weather on the Nines forecast on your TV and on the go with the Spectrum News app, exclusively on Spectrum.
It's game time at the arena, and 20,000 fans are looking for a win. With an ultra-high-speed network and seamless Wi-Fi, fans can get in the door fast and share the game's best moments in real time. And with Spectrum Business committed to keeping them connected 100% of the time, they won't miss a second of the action. A secure, reliable connection from Spectrum Business means the fan experience is a guaranteed win.
At Your Evening News, bringing you the stories that matter to the Tampa Bay community is our privilege.
That means we have the responsibility to provide impactful reporting across our communities.
Every evening, we ensure that you have in-depth coverage of the day's developing news.
Plus your Weather on the Nines forecast for the end of your day and to plan your tomorrow.
Join us for Your Evening News, weeknights starting at 5 on Spectrum Bay News 9.
Available on all of your favorite devices, exclusively on Spectrum.
Friday nights, The Big Deal with Errol Lewis, where Spectrum News' local political journalists break down the most important issues shaping our nation. Weather on the Nines, every 10 minutes, also available on the Spectrum News app.
Good evening, I'm Rick Elmhorst, and this is your Spectrum News in 90. Leaders of faith communities in St. Petersburg stepping up to try to address the affordable housing crisis. Some churches even considering building affordable housing units of their own. The state legislature also recently passed a bill that empowers local governments to partner with faith communities to build affordable housing on their property. Despite the efforts from the state legislature and leaders of faith, some still feel that building just dozens of units wouldn't have much of an impact. Manatee County will soon get to work replacing 150,000 water meters in the area. The county says it'll increase efficiency and reduce overall costs for residents. The new meters would transmit the information electronically. That means crews wouldn't need to go out and manually read the meter.